today we are going to discuss a very important interview question, which is normally asked to freshers or even experienced guy, which says that why this line is written: WebDriver driver equals new Chrome driver, and why it is always written like this. So there are three aspects to this particular question, which says that is it a rule? Because I have seen multiple fresher guys thinking that it is just a rule. They have to write a particular uh, line onto this particular fashion. So if I do not follow this rule, will it work? Let's check it out over here, right? I'm just running this particular code, right? I am not following that particular rule that WebDriver driver should be equal to Chrome driver. I did not follow that rule, and now it is working perfectly fine, which means that it is not a rule. So this is what I was trying to say, that this is not any generic rule. Okay. Second point that we need to take consideration of, that is it mandatory? So it is really not mandatory, because here itself if it was mandatory, it should have thrown me some sort of error, but it was not mandatory, which means that it is not even required to write into that particular form that WebDriver driver equals to new Chrome driver, right? And the third question, or the third aspect of this question, is that is it required? So the answer would be really yes, it is required, because we normally do not deal with one class or two class or three class. If we are discussing this particular lecture at this point of time, that is, if we are discussing anything about related to web driver, it means that we are having a discussion of Selenium and some automation stuff, right? And in automation, we do not hard code anything. We do not like write code like Chrome driver d equals to new Chrome driver, right? We always write a generalized kind of statement, because we do not deal with only one driver, or we do not deal with only one browser, because we run our some test cases on Chrome, we run some of our test cases onto Firefox, we run some of our test cases onto Safari driver, right? So in order to understand that, again, just try to have a look onto this particular diagram. I just discussed this diagram onto one of my lectures in couple of minutes back, where we discussed that what is a WebDriver. So WebDriver is just an interface. Interface means that you cannot create an object of this class. And why you cannot create an object of this class? Because interface simply contain abstract methods, right? Or you can see that those methods are totally unimplemented. For better and great detail in-depth learning, you can just follow my lecture 3.2, right, of my Java series. It will really help you to understand what abstract classes are all about, or what are all abstract method, how to write them, right? So apart from that, coming back to the topic, this is your interface, right? And all the methods which were unimplemented. WebDriver said that I have some of the methods which are unimplemented. I want some other class, to implement it. So this class, remote WebDriver, this is a class. It has implemented all the unimplemented methods, right? Till now, so far, so clear. Okay. And there is another class, guys. There is another class, or you can say different companies of different organizations, which are again further extending this class and providing their own extra functionalities. So what it means, that if they are extending, so it means that all the methods that has been implemented by this particular class, they have, plus they are providing their own extra functionalities. It means that Chrome driver is a product of, let's say Chrome is a product of Google, Firefox some other organization, Safari, let's say, belongs to Apple, let's say, right? So all these browsers, Opera and IE, all these browsers are providing their own extra functionalities, right? So this is how it is working. This is an interface, and this is what it is all about, right? Just give me a second. Okay, right. So this is what it was all about. So you need to understand this structure, right? So this is an interface which is implemented by this class, and this class is being extended by all these web browsers, right? So even all the methods of unimplemented methods are also with this particular Chrome driver. So this was also running. This was the reason why, that if we write this particular line, Chrome driver d equals to new Chrome driver, or we write Firefox driver d1 equals to new Firefox driver, it will still work. So it is not a rule that it has to be written onto that particular fashion, where I literally showed you, right? So over here we wrote it onto this particular fashion. If I write, I have not added Firefox driver, so that code won't work. But even if I write like this, d1 equals to new, let's say, Firefox driver, it will still going to work. If I write d1 dot get and if I run it, it will work. I do not have a Firefox driver totally imported, but let's see. Let's get some sort of output over here. See, it is giving me some sort of error, right? Illegal state, the path, something XYZ, blah blah blah. If I do it with D, it's gonna work totally fine. So this is just to show you guys that I think this should have been work. I don't know, this line is giving me some sort of error. Just remove it out and now try to run the code. Oh, sorry, yeah. In Java, it works sequentially, So the control was going to this, but that particular line. This is the reason why we were getting that sort of error, right? So even I tend to get confused, right? So now it opened successfully. We were able to access. So this is just to show that this code is still going to work. If I had Firefox driver, this code will still work. So this is not a rule, and it is not mandatory. But yes, if you say how to write this, it is required. Why it is required? Yes, because we have just gone through this particular sheet, where we have discussed that this was an interface. The methods have been described over here by this particular class, and the Chrome driver has all the methods over here, right? And in an automation framework, since we are discussing this topic, the answer would be totally into this particular fashion, that since we are working into an automation kind of framework, so we are not only dealing with one browser, we are dealing with at least 4 to 5 different browsers. And if we write this particular line, which means that we are going to invoke all the methods which are associated only with this Chrome browser, or you can see that which are associated only with this Chrome, because we are making use of this class, which means that this Chrome is a company of, let's say, Google. So we will be able to access only those methods. We will not be able to create a instance of, or generate an instance of Firefox. See, if the code is written like this, only Chrome driver, we would be able to execute a test cases only on Chrome driver. You cannot write this for your Firefox driver. Can you write it? Just try to write it over here. Let's say d1 equal to new. It will immediately show you an error, right? Cannot convert Firefox driver to Chrome driver. This is not a valid line even, right? But if you write like this, WebDriver d1 equals to new Firefox driver, then this is a valid line, right? And what do I mean by a valid line over here? Let's try to understand. I'm just copy pasting it over here. Let's say now I'm writing the code into this particular fashion, the way it has been mentioned over here, that why it is written always like that. It is required. My answer was yes. And why my answer is yes, now I'm going to give you a demo for that. Why my answer is yes? Because with the help of this, if we write into this particular fashion, we can invoke with this one single object or a reference variable, whatever you guys say. Actual the object is getting created over here, but if the reference variable of type WebDriver over here is written over here, we can actually instantiate all the browsers of all the companies. If I do like this, let's say d1 equals to new Firefox driver, it won't show any single error, guys, right? I can also do in the same way, d1 equals to new Internet Explorer driver as well, right? So with the help of one single variable, I can instantiate browser of three different companies or five different companies, right? I do not have to hardcore anywhere in my automation framework. So just to provide, give a little bit of flexibility or not to do hard coding for each and every browser, commenting it, uncommenting it. If 50 test cases are now being required to run only on Firefox, you will go and uncomment all the lines related to like this. It will totally disturb your automation framework. I don't know if in these three, 4 lines we are getting disturbed. In automation framework, there are thousands of lines, right? So your entire flow may get disturbed, your execution may halt. So right, it's this is the reason why it has been written into this particular fashion, because with the help of this one reference variable of type WebDriver, we are able to instantiate different browsers, right? So there can be Safari, there can be like Opera, 5 6 different browsers we can make use of, right? So this is the reason why it is written, because we always try to work in an automated environment, and in an automated environment we try to like write a general kind of code. We do not hard code, we do not work on one single browser. The second answer would be is that if we want to instantiate with the help of one reference variable all the different browsers, we can do that. But if you write ChromeDriver d1 equals to new ChromeDriver, as I showed you guys as of now, it will won't work. It will start giving you an error. I can give a demo for that. I'll just copy it out over here. I'll just write ChromeDriver equals to new Firefox driver. This line won't work because Chrome is a different company, Firefox is a different company, right? Safari is a different company, and your Internet Explorer belongs to a different company, different set of organization, and they themselves have not implemented any of their functionality. Please refer to this particular video. These are different companies, as I said, right? So they are providing their own extra functionality. They are not providing their any extra functionality of each other, right? They are providing all functionalities of WebDriver. So if we create a variable of type WebDriver, so so that variable of reference variable of type WebDriver, we would be able to access or instantiate call ChromeDriver. We will be also able to call Firefox driver. We would be also able to call Safari driver. But if we create hard coded of these only, then all our test cases would only be getting executed on Chrome, either on Firefox, either on Safari. But in an automation environment, we try to run our code on multiple browsers. So this is the reason why we could try to create object of these different browsers or classes, you can say that, of having a reference variable of type WebDriver, right? Because if not, then test cases would only run on one single browser, right? So I hope I have made some sense, and I hope the concept is clear. If not, please let me know in the form of comments. So guys, thank you for your time and patience. Thank you, thanks a lot.